get your tryout, how did you do it? Is it like anybody that was at the tryout makes the team, or are you gonna try if like somebody hits you
Yeah.
up,
I'm cutting the
or
number.
did you cut
Like,
kids? Yeah, you cut.
no,
Yeah.
I'm hitting. I've capped. 25 will be my cap. I'm not doing anything more than that because I think I can. That I can handle. I have a good because I got lucky with how it played out. I got literally half of the kids fit into the like age where they're old enough to where they're gonna go play. I'm gonna take them to like the big places, um,
Mm-hmm.
Denver, Sioux Falls, and then the younger kids like the freshmen. It's like perfect how it lined up. Honestly, how it just split right down the middle. I had 22 at tryouts, so I had one hit me up, one's hurt right now, but he'll be ready in the summertime. So it won 11 and 11. It was like perfect. Two of the
Mm.
kids are gonna. So I have this idea where I'm probably gonna be able to, when I go to these tournaments, go two teams. So
There
I'm
you
gonna do
go. That's what
that
I was just about to ask you.
and go two teams on that. So I have a couple kids that will swing um, up and low, but they're cool with it. I talked to them already. I
Mm-hmm.
had them. They played with me. They've played with on my in my summer program for the last 2 years. So
Yeah.
the one kid's gonna be good. He just needs time, and that's okay.
Needs some polishing. Absolutely.
He just needs games. He just needs a lot of games. And I know I'm very indifferent on that, but his skill will develop in the game. That's how he is, because he is very creative. Like, he's not afraid to try something and go in and make a crazy ass layup
Make a play. He's
attempt.
kind of got the instincts a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It
I
was a good
think that's
showing.
like
It's a great showing.
I think I think with those kids it is like obviously you want to polish your skills and stuff like that, but it is just kind of learning the game and playing in game situations
Mm-hmm.
and allowing them to kind of figure it out themselves.
Yeah, for sure. That's how. Yeah, I agree. He's good. I got some good young kids. I got some kids. I have a kid from Hannah, Wyoming. That's I'm not gonna lie,
That
that
was cool when you
surprised
said
me.
that.
That was I thought that was cool when his mom called. And I was like, okay, Hannah, Wyoming. Let me look this up real quick. And I was like, oh,
I looked it up too.
that's by Laramie. That's a long ways. They came. They're gonna
hmm
show up every Sunday, every other Sunday. In the I think
it's
just
cool
however many
it's
hours.
cool to see that like you're creating a product that and a program that people are catching wind of and want to be a part of. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's a cool thing to watch happen kind of from a distance.
So that poll I made about the open gym thing, that was strictly just for Sundance. Like I was doing that strictly just for, if I open the gym up in Sundance, would you show up? I had kids
hmm
like, I think some kids like took that as like, if I did, would you show up, like hypothetical. So you know how there's so many yes. I
hmm
had kids from your program. I can't remember who it was, but I had a kid from the Mile High Collective say
hmm
yes, and I was like, damn. So it's social media. I'm trying to just like get it out there and post it and repost it. I have a Twitter now, but Twitter's strictly
There you
going to be
go,
for
dude.
like posting kids, trying to get kids recruited, and
Highlights. Yeah.
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 So I probably won't be on that as much and posting like tournament scores and stuff, but so I'm not going to be on that as much as I would be like Instagram. So that's how I think that'll go. But I learned that from Brian. He said he's like, I have stuff locked away like in the vault, just ready to post every single day. That way people are seeing our account, they're seeing our stuff. Every time they
hmm
pull up their Instagram, we're the first one of the first 5 stories that they see, because you're posting all the time. And I'm like, damn, that's actually figuring out the algorithm.
it's a lot of um finding those little ways to get the word out about you, and it's crazy how that stuff happens. But like as
Mm-hmm.
we've talked about in Wyoming, there it's tough to find quality um, AAU or kind of summer programs that stick around for a long time, and so it's kind of cool to see yours growing and something that kids that aren't even from around there want to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I've told everyone that like I'm gonna like my goal is to do this the right way. I'm not just gonna throw together like a program for money, clicks, or all that stuff. Like you'll rarely see me post stuff this summer too. Like I want like I told
Hmm.
my dad, I was like, I want this to be big, but I want this to feel elite. I want this to feel premier. I want it to feel like I have to work my ass off to be able to rep that jersey. I don't want this to be like
Hmm.
a, and no offense, but I don't want this to be like a everybody welcome AAU program. I don't, because I
Yeah.
don't know. You know what I mean? Because I feel like that's where you create issues and problems, and like if you set that culture right away, like all right, we're cutting it right here. Sorry, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I can't. I feel like it creates that. Oh well, let's follow them this summer, see how they do, and like when we do good this summer, people are gonna be like, oh damn, I want to be part of that. Because
Hmm.
it's not if we do good this summer, it's we're gonna do good this summer.
Yeah. And I think, like when you um, set that culture of it doesn't necessarily mean you need to be the best player on your team to be a part of this program, but you have to show that you're committed to getting better, you're committed to being at practice, you're committed to being at tournaments, and like improving your game. I think that's the ultimate culture that's important to set because you might get a kid that's 13 years old and he's a baby deer and he can hardly run, but he's going to be 6'8". And if you bring
Mm-hmm.
him in now and teach him a work ethic and teach him kind of how to play the game while he's catching up to his body, those are those kind of kids where it's like you look back on and you're like, man, I'm glad we had him a part of our program.
Oh, for sure. I told my mom this last night. I was like, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, not having uh Parker and Jake and Eli at practice. I was like that kind of sucked. I was like that was sad because they're seniors and they're done. So
Yeah.
that was my first group that's done. So I'm like, damn, like no more gym time with my like my leaders. Now I gotta find,
Right.
which is fun. Like I'm gonna enjoy this part. Now I gotta find who's gonna be the one. Actually, I know who's gonna be the one. Who's gonna be my leader, but or who everyone's gonna follow. But I
Hmm.
want to find who my vocal asshole is.
Who the dog
I'm
is on the squad.
who's gonna open up and talk some smack. I told them things are gonna be different this summer. It's gonna be ran different. I was like, it's not gonna be the same as last year where I let things kind of go. Like we're gonna be held accountable. I was like, if we mess
Things
up
like
when we're trying
what?
to do
Like, what do you
something, like
mean?
we will like like the little things, details. I got this thing from Shave called Start Stops Turns, and it's just works on jump stops, pivots, crossover, direct drives, all that stuff.
We
Like
did
teaching
we
them how to
did
do
that
that.
today, big dog. We did that
And
today at old collective practice.
um, we always started it off with you yell stance or blow the whistle, and everyone has to get in a stance, like a triple threat, like shooting stance. And if you're not, you stand up, do it again. And I think last year I was very like, you know, they did it once, I would make them do it again. If they did it twice, I was like, all right, let's just go. I wasn't
Hmm.
I wasn't detail oriented, like on the little thing. I was letting the little thing slide. So that kind of,
Mm.
I want to cut that. I want to nip all those things in the butt and be a better like coach this year in that aspect.
And I
because that's
think,
how you.
I think for one's part of that is, especially with things like what you're talking about in particular, is you got to communicate the importance of those kind of the boring things. You know what I mean? The kind of boring
Mm-hmm.
that it's not necessarily fun to work on those things or the first thing that pops into your mind, but it's about emphasizing the importance and doing it the right way. So, because if you're not doing the basics right, how are you going to do the stuff that's step two, three, and four
For
right?
sure. For sure. It's funny you say that because I just watched a video today with Bo Nix saying that at a QB camp, saying,
Mm,
uh, saying like he's like, I know this may seem boring, guys, but he's like, the boring stuff matters. The boring stuff is what got me to the NFL. He's like, you want to know what I did the first day I was in the NFL? I was like, dropbacks. He's like, the boring stuff. We did it every single day. He's like, the boring stuff gets
hmm
you places. And I was like, that's so true.
It
Work on
is.
the boring things. And that's what we're gonna do. Like tomorrow, ungodly amount of passing drills in the beginning. Because
An
I want to
ungodly amount.
like they're gonna be like, damn, passing is important here. I want you to learn how to pass versus pressure. I want you to learn all these things. Ball handling versus pressure. Like
Hmm
it's gonna be. I told my dad, I was like, these first couple weeks, or I'm trying. I need to set the precedent of this is what we're here to do. We're not here to mess around. Like we gotta get work done.
Like, oh, y'all, you think I'm playing? Like, oh yeah, you don't want to deny that. You don't want to deny that passing lane. Let's do it again, and we're gonna keep doing it till you do it. I feel like that was like
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Trump was that way a little bit, don't you? Like Trump was super detail oriented, especially in like shell drill, where it was
Very.
like, oh my gosh, dude, we've done this 90 times.
We've been. Hey, coach. We've been on shell drill for an hour and a half. I'm
Yeah,
hungry,
exactly.
and it's late. We're already late. We're already
Yeah.
running late. Tom, put three more minutes on the clock. Yeah, here I'll just put 20 more on the clock because that's what we'll need.
hmm Yeah.
Not stupid.
Yeah, that's how you
Hey,
learned. Yeah, you were like,
speak
okay.
of real quick, since I just mentioned the manager moment. What do you think about that McNeese State guy, the Amir Khan?
I think it started out at that it started out as something that was cool for them, but then the media got a hold of it, and now it's kind of weak, to be honest with you. And
All
that's
I
no hate. Like that's like I hope it doesn't come off that way, because that's not I'm
get
not
his
hating
money,
on what he's
get your
doing,
bag.
but like it was when the media got a hold of it. Now it seems like it's a show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I tweeted like today because here's my thing was like I was like I'm not trying to hate, but the shit you can go viral for is wild. I was like this song is literally talking about gang banging in the lyrics. This is the message we want to promote to the kids. And I was like when you sit there and think about it, like yeah, I get it. Like in their mind, in their view, there's no, they have no harm, they have no ill will, they're meaning nothing, like that's unintentional, like that's just them getting hyped up for a game, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
But like i feel like I feel like I don't know, I just don't think I better song choice for one. I, just my saying, and if that's what you're gonna do with the media, like I don't know, I just didn't like it. His whole
Yeah,
bodysuit today, his aura, gold,
yeah.
yellow. Like, bro, I get it. You just Jesus Christ.
I mean,
Let him
I
be,
feel like
man.
now there's,
He is the he was the one of the engines of that train though. Like obviously that worked for him.
well, that's what I mean. Like, obviously nobody knew about it before, and it was just something kind of probably for their team and their culture, and like that was a unique part of their program, just who he was. But then it got
I think it's the
like when the
media. I think
tournament hit,
we're more
exactly,
mad with
the
the
media.
media. Ah, bless it. Bless the media.
But all
St.
respect to him, man.
John's
All respect.
St. John's and We both watched that game, St. John's, Arkansas. Little
Hmm.
coaching tree, Calipari and Rick Pitino there. That was a good game. Physical,
Are they the same
physical
coaching
game.
tree?
Well, just era. I was looking for
Just
the right
area.
words. Yeah. I didn't. That was the only word that was coming to my mind. Um,
No, I feel you.
but
But fantastic game. I was disappointed. I talked, like I said, talked to you, or like I was saying earlier before we recorded, like I felt the two halves were officiated very differently, but I thought it was a great game.
mm-hmm. No, for sure. I don't like when officials make themselves a part of the game. I think for one, I will say this, I think up until that half this tournament, that half actually is the only half of this tournament that I will complain about the officials. I think this tournament has been very much about the players deciding the game, and
Hmm.
I don't think that was the only time I ever like sat even in the North Carolina game. I'm normally like a like that's a foul, you know what I mean? But I'm like, this is they're letting them decide right now. I don't know. That's how
Yeah,
I felt. Obviously, other people can feel differently, but I feel like, for one
you
example, I
felt
told
that
this to my
way
dad
about.
yesterday. The flagrants. You know
Yeah,
how
go
many
ahead.
opportunities there's been for a flagrant foul this weekend, and
How
they've
many?
resent and they've just gone like I don't probably quite a few. I saw like 4 or 5
A
games
lot.
in a row where they reviewed, and it could have been like a year ago they would have said that's a flagrant.
Hmm.
And this year they've really held back on that. Like that. Did you see the art? Did you watch the UNC Ole Miss game
No, I think I was in the gym.
so
I think we had open gym. Was that Tuesday? Or I'm sorry,
Friday yesterday?
Friday, yeah.
So RJ made a move where, like, he went across this way, he ripped high, and the guy was in his
Hmm.
cylinder. Well, he got hit in the nose with RJ's elbow. They didn't call anything at that, and then he drove in layup and one down two with a minute left, and they reviewed it. And I'm like, damn, no way. If they call this a flagrant foul, like that just ruins this whole entire game. And then
Hmm.
I was like, because normally they would, in my opinion, but they held to it. They're like, they basically were like, he was in his cylinder, and there's nothing here. If anything, it would have been a foul on the defender for being in the
Yeah.
offensive guy's cylinder. And I'm like, thank you. Like, for once, I feel like we're really not involving the officials. For once, it seems like we have not had any officiating
Any
conflicts.
games that were determined by
Mm-hmm.
officiating?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Unless I've had a
thought I
blind
just
eye.
and not that like I don't necessarily think not that there weren't bad calls. I think there were some bad calls in that Arkansas St. John's game, but it was more the way the game was officiated in the second half as opposed to the first half. I thought they were letting the teams play so much more in the first half, and it was fun. It wasn't very efficient. It wasn't very offensive oriented by any means, but
Mm-hmm.
they were it was a dogfight, man, and it was just kind of a fun
Yes.
game to watch. It had that energy. But then the second half, there was no rhythm to the game because I felt like they called it so much tighter.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this from a coaching standpoint. Um, you're Rick Pitino, because everyone's making a big deal about this, not playing RJ Lewis in the last 2 minutes. You riding with that? You agree with that? I do. I'm
Here's what I think happened. I don't think it had anything to do with his poor performance shooting the basketball today. I think with a guy like Rick Pitino, he's not going to make a petty move like that just
no.
because someone's having a bad shooting game. Something happened. Something was said, something happened where he sat him on the bench. He said, "We're going to lose this game with or without you." You know, like
Mm-hmm.
we're going to win or lose this game with or without you basically.
I saw a tweet that
But
they basically was like, Rick Pitino proved that if you don't play the way he want his style of game, he's not going to play you. And I'm like, that's
exactly.
that he has every right to pull you out. If you're going to go rogue, it's this is the NCAA tournament, bro. Like, You do
And
what
Steve,
has gotten you there.
the color commentator, Steve Lapis, he kept
Mm-hmm.
harping on it. Like he kept harping on the fact, like, oh, I can't believe the Big East Player of the Year isn't in the game. And I was like screaming at my TV, like, it's not because he's playing bad. It's because something happened, and Patino's like, hey, buddy, go get real comfortable on the bench. That's what happened.
Mm-hmm. Oh, 100%. That's what happened. I don't fault him. I've done it before. I've definitely sat down my best player at the end of games. Sorry, but
It's
and
it's what we were. It's what.
it's not because of bad play. It's never been because of bad play. It's because of attitude. It's
Mm,
always because of attitude.
or if, like, maybe it was something where it was like Patino had talked to him about, dude, you're taking tough shots. Like you got to make better reads, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe it was something like that. I don't know. And Lewis just kept doing it. But if a kid is taking good shots, making good reads, and they're just not going in, I'm not sitting them on the bench. Like if they're good shots, they're shots we want that person to be taking. I can't fault him for not going in today, and I'm not going to bench somebody for that. So that's not why Lewis was sitting down.
No, for sure not.
I'm
I
sure we'll hear why.
um I think they met a physical team and a team that just matched up well. It's all about matchups in the tournament. It's all about matchups. It doesn't
Hmm.
matter what seed they are. If they match up well, like Bryant gave Michigan State struggles first half yesterday because they
Hmm.
matched up super good against Michigan State.
Yep, absolutely.
Oh damn, this game's gotten close. BYU
BYU,
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Uh huh.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, no, I did not expect Arkansas to win. I expected St. John's to win that one. I picked St. John's, but I did not pick them to win the Sweet 16 game. I have them losing to Texas Tech.
Yeah, I have Texas Tech in my Final Four. Actually, I have them in my championship, if I'm honest. Against guess who? Bush. Duke. Duke. Duke.
Beat
We don't
Baylor
have to
first.
go there.
Get
We
past
don't
Jeremy
have to
Roach.
go there.
Jeremy Roach going for 50,
Hey, there's a
5
reason. There's a
0
reason Jeremy Roach ain't on the roster anymore. We leveled
because he's
up.
about to whoop you. He's about to cook your ass. That's
No,
why he
no
ain't on the roster.
disrespect to Jeremy Roach, but
John came
he
in and
we
they had
leveled
an
up,
end of the
buddy.
year. They had an end of the year meeting. John was like, "Hey man, we don't want you." Jeremy was like, "All right, see you in the tournament, bro." Ah, if you
Uh,
guys lose, oh, that'd be the greatest.
I don't want to hear it because, like I said in the Instagram message, I hope you enjoyed North Carolina's last win in that playing game.
Hey man, that's okay. We weren't supposed to be there. You guys are supposed to win the national championship.
And I think let's just touch on that real quick. I think Duke can and will win the national championship if Malik Brown returns at some point in this tournament. That he is a huge key.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking
Um.
about, Malik Brown?
Mm-hmm. His shoulders best so busted.
Yeah, he's dislocated it like 90 times or something.
um. I just I don't know, man. I don't even have you guys getting to the Final Four. I picked Bama to beat Duke.
Okay, guy, that's not going to happen.
Oh, you don't think Mark
Bama,
Sears gonna cook up?
well, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Bama barely escape their win last night? Who'd they play? Robert Morris. They beat Robert Morris by 9, buddy. You kidding me? They might lose to St. Mary's.
You're crazy. That's crazy talk. Um, I will say the SEC was vastly overrated. I'm glad that I can say that now because that's the truth. Um, Let me just
You
pull this
think
up.
so?
Yes, absolutely. You want to see something funny? I'm sure you've seen it, but it's to me this cracks me up. I gotta pull up the standings real quick.
Because was it 14 SEC teams made the tournament?
Mm-hmm. And so you got Texas 6-12 lost first game. Oklahoma 6-12 lost first game. Vandy 8-10 lost first game. Georgia 8-10 lost first game. Mississippi State 8-10 lost first game. All those guys got an automatic bid and weren't even a factor in their games. Texas blew that, but
Texas was, yeah. That's a fair point. Um, I also just think it's a product of what teams that are good enough to make the tournament that people will watch and like kind of know, because I read this somewhere, not to change the subject too much, but it kind of applies.
uh-huh.
If Drake wouldn't have won their conference tournament, they probably wouldn't have made the NCAA tournament at
Yeah,
30-3,
I
and they
agree.
won their first game. Like they got beat today by Texas Tech, but um, like that's asinine if you ask me. A 30-3 team, whether you win your conference tournament or not, should be in the tournament instead of like one of those like Texas. Like they were like 19-14 overall this year.
Mm-hmm. I think we pay too much attention to this net and quad one and all this other stuff. For one, two, I, I firmly believe the tournament's too big. We're at a point where the tournament's too big. I mean, if we're bitching about a 17-15 Ohio State team not making it in over North Carolina, we're at a point where, like, what are we doing? I mean, I'm not saying North Carolina deserved to get in, but 17-15 is a disgusting record, and that is not a
I
tournament.
agree.
That is not an at-large team.
I
If
I
you lose
completely
15
agree.
times, you are not an at-large team. I'm sorry, but that is my personal opinion on that, and that's the only point I've been trying to hammer home all week. Like, if you're a 6-12 team in your conference, I don't care how good that conference is. You're mediocre. You had a mediocre year, and you're not
Yeah.
very good. Sorry.
Yeah. No, I think I think a couple things. The kind of criteria, the quad one wins, this, that, all of those things, I
Mm-hmm.
think is a good tool to kind of like be able to justify those really close ones between like this team is better than this team. I don't think those should be the like major determining factor of who gets in the tournament, because there are that second team in the um, Big Sky that might be better than the eighth place team in the SEC. You never know. I don't know, and that's kind of the beauty of the tournament. But I feel like we've put so much stock into like the quad one wins and kind of all that other criteria.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think me and Max have been talking about this quite a bit. Like, what if the tournament was down to like 32 teams again? Like, what if you brought it down to 32 teams? What would it be like? Like, obviously, when you sit there and think about it, he says this all the time. He's like, and I started to really really believe this like 2 years ago. Seeds 9 through 16, 10 through 16. Like, what are you bringing to the table? What are you going to bring? Maybe a win or two in the first weekend. to draw some attention and money. Like, but are you truthfully going to go win a national championship? No. I mean, FAU, they made it to the Final Four as a 9th seed. That's a once in a blue moon thing. So like they're right on that edge. So what if it was 1 through 8
Right.
in each region? I
Okay,
mean, you know what I mean? Like,
but I see what you're saying, and I get what Max is saying too. Like that those teams don't necessarily have a chance
and
to
I'm not,
win a national title.
and
That's
real quick, I'm
fair.
not trying to shit on small schools. I'm not trying to
No, no, I know you're
like
not. I know.
doo doo on the small teams like that.
No, but like realistically, every year if teams go into the tournament healthy, there's like 2 to 5 or 6 teams that have legitimate shots to win the national title. Literally everybody else doesn't have a shot. They're not good enough. If they run into one of those 2 to 6 teams, like this year, I think legitimate teams that can win a national title is Houston,
Mm-hmm.
Duke, Alabama, Auburn. Um, who am I missing? Do you think Tennessee can win a national title?
No,
Texas Tech, do you think they can win a national title?
no, no.
There
I
you
think it.
go. So we're
Truthfully, I
down to
think it's
four
like.
teams.
I think it's. Oh shit.
So if it's like so kind of where I'm coming from, if
I
that's
think
your
Michigan
logic,
State could. I think Michigan State could.
there you go. So that's 5. So kind of with that logic is let's just do it like a college football playoff. If there's legitimately only 5 teams that can legitimately win a national title just based off of how good they are,
Mm-hmm.
why don't we just shorten it? Why don't we just shorten it all the way to that? So for me, I think the 64 team tournament, yeah, it might be too big. You know, you could probably make it smaller. But I think that's part of the beauty of this time of year is like, yes, this 14 seed doesn't have a chance to win a national title, but they knock off two teams that maybe could on along the
Mm-hmm.
way.
And I think too,
That's
like
the cool part.
one thing that I've been seeing, and I still love watching uh 12-5 matchup. Or you don't get me wrong, like the
Me
first
too.
weekend of March is the best. Like these are the best 4 days of basketball ever. And in
Yeah.
364 days of the year, these are the best 4 days because it's just ball all day
Hmm.
long. But like one thing that's irritating me about this is everyone complaining about the lack of upsets. Like for the first time ever, 1 through 4 didn't lose in the first round. Like cool, that's
Hmm.
amazing. You want that. I am sorry, but you don't want upsets because then you get Final Fours with UConn, Florida Atlantic, San Diego State, and Miami, or you get Final
That's
Fours with
so I feel
Villanova,
you.
Michigan, Loyola Chicago. Like, come on, man. I like to. I'm
So I
sorry,
feel
but
you in
this.
that sense. I feel you in that sense where it's like you want, especially when you get to the final four, you want the best 4 teams in those 2 games. You know what I mean? So I totally get you there.
And well, yeah, and see that's what because that's why I said on the I was like basketball. I was like basketball casuals are mad that the good teams won. Basketball savants in reality love this because that means
Savants.
in 2 weeks the Final Four is gonna be lit. The Elite Eight is gonna be lit. Top notch
That's
basketball.
fair.
I'm sorry, but watching UNC play St. Peter's in the Elite Eight was total. Like I barely watched it. I tuned in, watched the first
Yeah.
6 minutes. I said, "All right, book us to the Final Four. This game's over." Not a chance. They had no chance.
Wasn't that with Doug Edert?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you get George
Edert?
Masons that make it to the Final Four or VCU back in the day, but like, when was the last
Hmm.
time that truly happened? Not a lot. Like,
I agree completely. But I do think having and just kind of some of these obscure matchups in the first couple rounds it's part of the fun of it, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um. Yeah. I just want a good. I want for the first time, for the second time in the history of this tournament. I would love to see all one seeds going at it in the Final Four.
And I think this is a year
How
where that
crazy is
could
that, though?
happen.
How
Yeah, that
crazy
could
is that?
happen.
One time ever, and that was in 2008.
Wasn't it? Yeah, 2008. Can you
Mario
recall who those
Chalmers.
teams were?
Yeah, Memphis, North Carolina, UCLA, and Kansas. Because
Mm, nice,
Memphis had
dude.
D Rose. That was the Mario Chalmers shot.
Hmm. When Memphis missed about 19 free throws in the last like 12 minutes of that game.
That was so bad.
They were
Um,
going to the free throw line like every possession almost, and literally were going 0 for 2 or 1 for 2 every single time.
Derrick Rose. Well, if you think about it, that year it wouldn't have counted anyways. Would have got taken away. So
Uh,
technically, Memphis wasn't in that Final Four. They were just
we
Kansas was
all
just
know they
playing
were
nobody.
though.
That was, dude. I
Yeah,
lost.
Kansas will get one on forfeit. You
Yesterday was
lost
a rough
what?
day. Yesterday was a rough day.
Because North Carolina lost.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so sorry to hear that, man. I'm
Yeah.
so sorry to hear
Um.
that.
No, you're not. I
Yeah,
was
you're
sitting
right.
at
I'm not.
work. I was sitting at work with one headphone in, quiet as could be, leg tapping, thinking we're gonna do this. Like, oh my god, we're gonna do this. You know, hit a three. I did the
Yeah,
like, come on, just
the
quiet.
pump. Yeah, the fist pump at
Texting
work.
Max. I'm texting Max, all caps. We're dead. We're fucking dead. We are dead. We are so dead. We are trash. We're so bad. Like I was just trying. I just kept that energy the whole entire time, and it was working. And then we decided to go under a screen on a 3-point shooter,
Yeah,
and
can't do
that
that.
was all she wrote, dude. My thing is this: is it's not there is a ugly pattern when you are consistently starting every other game horrible, horrible. Like actually every game. Did you watch the San Diego State game, the first four game, by chance?
I did not. No.
First 5 minutes of that game, if you watch the first before the first media in that game and the first media to up until the first media, the Ole Miss game, you'd be seeing the same team, same exact team. The
Mm,
only difference was we were playing a Mountain West school who was fifth place in the Mountain West and wasn't good.
mm.
That's that's on the coach. I don't know about you, but that's on the coach. If you consistently can't get your guys ready to come play, like if your guys aren't like, I don't know, man. That's
With so you just feel like Hubert. That's a kind of
it's
a common theme with him and his teams.
yeah. This year it was, anyways.
Yeah.
I just don't understand. I went and looked back at it. So many, all the quad one games, all 13 quad one games, we started, except for the one we won, we started down at halftime.
Really.
Mm-hmm. I know everyone we were. We came back and won the UCLA game. Every game we were down at halftime. And over 50% of them
Mm.
we were down by double digits. And then tried to miraculously try and do this run and come back and win. And it's just like, guys, you can't do that.
Here's my question. Because RJ Davis is an all-time UNC great. Would you agree? He's in
Second
that
leading scorer in
conversation.
school history.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
His last 2 years have just kind of been blah,
Mm-hmm.
right? Wait. What'd UNC do last year?
They were a one seed, but they underachieved in the tournament. We lost to Alabama.
Oh, that's right. I forgot they were good last year. But his like what do you feel about that for him in particular?
I feel like he deserved a little bit better in his
Ooh,
tenure. I
nicely
don't
like
know.
that. I
I
think
just
I think for me it shows that for one, I don't think it was quite as good of a North Carolina team, quite obviously, just in general.
no. We could go
But
back to one of our
he,
podcasts and I said it.
yeah. But I also don't feel like he made his team better. I think he was a very good player.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was an incredibly good player, actually. But I don't think he made his team better.
He wasn't like
I
a
think
Marcus
he
Page.
didn't. Correct. Yeah, he exactly. That's a good example.
Marcus Page could give you 30 and make everyone else better around him.
Hmm. And
Marcus
hit
Page could put a team
hit
on his
the
back.
hit the most clutch, and he would hit the most clutch shots all the
Uh,
time.
that
It
is
pissed me
one.
off.
That is one North Carolina guy that it is so sad that he did not get that national champion. Him and Bryce Johnson, dude. Those are the two guys where I'm like, ugh, I wish you guys could have got that.
He
Marcus Page, my favorite Carolina player ever,
ever
ever.
really?
Uh-huh. Dude, he was so fun to watch.
Wow,
Little guy,
he was.
little guy, could score.
But he just
Tough,
he just
tough,
dominated the game in a
dude.
lot of different ways. Like what was
His
crazy about him
toughness.
is like he would have, yeah, he was super tough, and he would have, 2 games in a row where he'd had 25, and then he'd have a couple more games in a row where he had 12 points, 12 assists, and 12 rebounds. You know what I mean? Like yeah, I'm glad you brought him up because that's a great example of I think what RJ Davis isn't, of a guy that elevates to the rest of his team.
I just don't think this we had a good roster. I think we keep a handful of dudes, and I think I want to see us be aggressive in the transfer portal. We got a GM. Let's get that money and let's get aggressive. That's what I want to see. I want to see us go after some dudes. Like, let's bring some guys in.
I think you got to. Yeah, I think you
Screw
got
this.
to in this
Screw
day and
this.
age.
Like, traditional Carolina is not. You're not going to get that no more. We got to go get guys. We can't hold guys for 4 years and expect to just be good. It's
Yeah,
not.
I think it's just the climate of college basketball now, like that's just what it is. You have to be willing to do that.
I just the other thing that makes me so mad is the fact that they gave Hubert Davis a 5-year extension and didn't tell anyone for 2 months. Held it under held it under the wraps
How did you
from the
find that
public.
out? When you pulled
Huh?
that out of your bag of tricks, when you pulled that out of your bag of tricks, I was like, how did he know this?
Because they said it. They openly said it that
Oh,
they
they
gave it
did?
to him back in like December and it was announced in early February. That's so shady. That's so shady for an average
Super
career.
shady.
I'm, he has a okay record, 100 and some wins and 60 some losses. First year you were an 8 seed, made it to the national championship. Next year you were preseason number 1 and didn't make the tournament. Year after that you were a 1 seed, lost in the Sweet 16. Year after that, preseason number 8, 11 seed, lost in the first round.
Yeah, it's a very volatile roller
Let me
coaster ride with old Hubert.
Roy Roy Williams coaching career. Let's see here. Oh no, I actually am curious. This will shut me up or let me keep talking. Compare Roy's first 4 years at North Carolina head coaching record. There we go. First year 19 and 11, round of 32. Second year 33 and 4, 14 and 2, national champion. Hmm.
National
Second year
champion.
Second year, round of 32, or third year, round of 32. Fourth year, made it to the Elite Eight. Fifth year, Final Four. Sixth year, national champion. and then it got tough
For old
because
Roy.
it got a little tough. But he came out the gates hot at North Carolina. Hubert, not so much. It was a miss this year, a very bad miss, and that can happen again.
Yeah.
Or
And I
our
think
or the
the
fan base
ACC in
will
general,
rage.
man, I think the ACC in general needs to get on board in more ways with NIL.
Yeah, the
Clear,
ACC's
clearly, clearly they didn't handle NIL like they should have.
we're supposed to be the premier conference. Now the SEC is the premier conference in football and basketball. I don't like that. I don't like that at all.
I think we'll see. Like I think one a conference that is always competitive as well is the Big 10 and the Big 12. Like the thing about the Big 12 teams is they always have such good regular seasons, and I feel like they lose a lot in early rounds.
Mm-hmm. What's crazy though?
And I can't figure it out.
Do you know the last time the Big Ten won a national championship in basketball? You
Ohio
should know
State
this.
won at one point, didn't they?
Nope. Nope.
Or
You
Michigan
should know
State, I
this.
would say.
Yeah,
Michigan
in
State.
2000. Tom Izzo.
Yeah.
That's wild. Big
Mm,
12. Ah, Big 12 was not too long ago with Kansas. Talk about an
yeah.
underperformance the last 2 years. Also, uh, Hunter Dickinson is not as good as advertised.
Not that guy, pal. Not that guy.
Toxic. Dude, I firmly believe that dude is a toxic guy.
I think he's
Right?
just
Ooh,
yeah. I
dropped.
I think he's very good, or I think he's a good basketball player, and he's very big. I don't think he's very tough, to be honest with you.
Writes a lot. Right. Damn, that kid looking. You look rough, man. Guys, get him off camera. Um, that poor kid.
Oh
He's about to
man,
see
that's a
himself
tough
on Twitter,
angle.
dude. He's about to see himself on Twitter. He looking like
Yeah, that's a
he
meme.
looking spazzy. I don't even remember what I was gonna say now.
He looks like not one of the dude, not Ed and Eddie.
Oh, he looks like the guy of Dumb
Arnold.
and Dumber.
He looks like Arnold. Or yeah, that's a good. Yeah, he does.
Who's your national champ?
Duke.
Who they playing?
I haven't played Texas Tech. I believe in the national championship game.
Texas Tech.
Absolutely.
You're crazy.
No, I'm not.
You are crazy. Absolutely
Why you say
crazy.
that?
Texas Tech is not making the Final Four over Georgia or Florida.
I have them beating Florida in the Sweet 16.
I got Florida and Houston in the Natty.
Oh, I hear a lot of people jumping on the Florida train.
I
Obviously,
like
they're
their
hot right now,
size.
but
I
yeah,
like
they're
their
they're
size.
big. They're
The thing,
big.
the one thing that's like one of them UConn teams when they had Kemba and Shabazz, because that Walter Clayton dude can give you 30 if he wants
Fits.
to.
Yeah.
He's not afraid. Um, no, I don't know. That's who I got winning though. That's
Wait, you have Houston winning, or you have Florida
Florida.
winning? You
Florida.
have Florida
Sorry,
winning.
Florida.
I saw they were the second most picked team on ESPN Tournament Challenge, right behind guess who?
Duke.
I'll let you answer it. There you go, buddy. There you go.
It's a lot of crazy people. I don't even have that team in the Final Four.
I
Colin
think it's all a
Kanupa's gonna
matter
have
of
a
if
bad
they.
game.
I think it's all a matter of if they're healthy.
Jeremy Roach is about to light you guys up.
No, he's not, dude. No, he's not.
If Baylor wins, oh, Is that one of the? If you guys don't, what happens? What is this season? Is it natty or bust with this team?
I
Like
think it's you got
anything
we got
less
to at
is a
least
failure.
we got to at least get there. We got to at least get there. I because legitimately, like I said, I think Auburn, if Auburn makes it to the national championship game, they could legitimately win it. Alabama, same thing. Duke, same thing. Houston, same thing.
Houston's trying to
Like
make it. Houston playing in their home state if they make it.
there's 4 or 5 teams that if they make the national championship game and they won, I would be like, I can see that.
Yeah, I'm
So
going.
for me, like if Duke doesn't win the national championship game, but they get there, I would say that's a successful season.
I think it's natty or bust for you guys.
But I think we're banged up, and I think people know that, like
The dogs are smelling blood.
who's that?
Baylor, they
Man,
smell
they're
it.
not, dude.
They smell it.
Baylor's probably one of the smeller
They smell
smelly out.
it.
No, I have
Oh,
no worry of Baylor.
I think they'll play Alabama though in the Elite Eight and lose. We could only hope.
So Alabama, it would have to be Auburn. They would only see Auburn in the national championship, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Auburn and Florida in the Natty. You have to get through Houston, Tennessee, either Houston, probably Tennessee, or Bama to get to the uh,
Mm-hmm.
elite or national championship game, Final Four.
Yeah,
I was kind of upset
dude.
that I forgot that the games were in Denver this year. I would have went down
I
this weekend.
know, bro. We talked about that
I
too.
completely forgot until like I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh damn it!
It
This
was
BYU
madness
game
down here.
this BYU game's in Denver.
I know. BYU they played their first round game against VCU there, and we were watching, and I was like, oh, forgot there were games here.
Mm-hmm. And they got that home court advantage. I think.
BYU.
Oh, I looked this up, dude. How terrible is this if you're Richmond? You're going from 213 feet above sea level to 5,000 in your first round game. And then you're playing a team that's at pretty much 4,000 feet.
Richmond? Who'd you say?
Richmond, Virginia. That's where VCU's at.
Oh, I got you. I got you.
That would suck, dude. Going from sea level
That
to.
would suck. That's part of it, though, man. You gotta figure it out. That's how it was going up to old Gunnison.
Yeah, that was the best shape I've ever been in in my entire life. I'll be honest. I hated running up
What's up,
there
dude? That's why Olympic athletes go train at elevations like that.
at elevation. Train at
It's
elevation.
different. It's
Um,
different.
but yeah, that's all I got. That's all I have on the.
Me as
I had a
well.
lot more. I was a down dog yesterday from about 3:50 until I woke up, and I was
You had a
hurt.
lot to get off your chest.
That loss broke me. That one broke me. Like I was legitly just head on my desk, defeated. Like I was a part of the program,
The
broken.
program, the program really failed you last night.
And that's why everyone asked me, "How are you? How are you? You okay?" No, I'm dead.
Oh, you had people checking
I'm
up on you?
I'm in a
That's how
coffin.
down bad you were?
It's like I'm in a coffin right now. Well, because they know it's just
Yeah,
it's shots. They know I'm a Carolina fan. How are you, man? What happened to Carolina? They put me in my grave. That's what happened.
yeah, they did. Well, you can just watch Duke make its run to the Final Four and
No,
drown out your sorrows even more.
no, I'll watch Florida win this national championship.
The
Anyone
Chompers.
but Duke. I'm taking the field. You can take Duke. I'm taking the field.
All right, it's plus
And
1200
my
for
bet.
Duke.
I love my bet. I'm taking the field.
That's just fine. We'll see.
Right.
Duke will see you in the national championship.
I don't know. Do you know what episode this was?
Episode 50 something, 57, 56.
56. I don't know.
Sure.
It'll say on the thing.
You guys will know.
All right,
Peace.
y'all.